Dispatcher. 911. What's your emergency? Mother, I need to report a crime. Dispatcher. Okay, what is it? Mother, I've just murdered my 2 children. That was a mind-bending 911 call a mother made from inside a police station lobby. It was a call that would kick off an investigation into a terrifying history of paranoia, ending in an act that almost impossible to comprehend. On the night of April 5th, 2021, 30-year-old Madison McDonald walked into the Irving Police Department in Texas, used a lobby phone to dial 911, and calmly confessed. The crime she admitted to was real, and as police would soon discover, it was the result of a mind spiraling into a deep and dangerous delusion. On the call, McDonald told the dispatcher she'd killed her 2 daughters, 6-year-old Archer Hammond and 1-year-old Lillian McDonald. Why? She claimed it was to protect them from horrific abuse and sex trafficking she insisted was being orchestrated by their own family. As police rushed to her apartment in the 700 block of Cowboys Parkway, they found a heartbreaking scene. Inside were the lifeless bodies of Archer and Lillian. A medical examiner later confirmed they had been sedated and then smothered to death. Just hours later, in an interview with detectives, McDonald laid out her bizarre and horrifying allegations again. She was convinced her apartment was being broken into. Her devices were hacked and her medication was being secretly switched. She swore she'd reported it all to the police and Child Protective Services before, but claimed no one would help her. Investigators chased on every single claim, but just like in the past, they found absolutely no evidence to back any of it up. The threat wasn't coming from outside the home. It was coming from within her own mind.
Can I help you?
I'm at the South Station, and it's for multiple things. Child and murder.
Who murdered them?
I sedated them and smothered them.
How many children you have?
I had to.
Police! Irving Police! Anybody home? Yeah, I've got one in here.
Where you at?
Over here. I got one right here.
That one. Is there any in here?
I'm checking over here right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Madison, were you dealing with some type of depression? Like hearing voices? Is an officer there?
No and no.
Okay.
I have a diagnosed condition, but that has nothing to do with this. To do with the harassment and abuse and exploitation that we've been going through in our family that I've been fighting to save. I stayed with them for a little bit because I didn't want to leave her.
Okay.
But they can't keep getting hurt. I've tried to get help so many times.
Let me ask you this. Were your kids assaulted or
I have strong reason to believe, and I've been fighting to prove it. Like I said, I've even filed a report already.
So do you think that they were? Yes.
Yes.
Or no? Okay,
Yes.
and by whom?
by their dads, and I don't know who else.
Which is your ex-husband, right?
They have different dads.
Oh, okay.
2 officers just walked in.
Okay, go ahead and talk to him, okay, Madison? Okay, bye-bye.
So what's going on?
We've been going through a very, very traumatic and scary situation in the family for about a year now, and I've been trying to prove that there are people that are hurting my children, and everyone keeps shutting it down or saying they're not going to talk about it or won't help me get help. My family is in some kind of online exploitation, solicitation, images, videos, something with me and my kids, and I don't know who else. And someone's got to help, but I can't watch them keep crying and screaming and not wanting Daddy to touch them or not being able to get their diaper changed because she's so stuck. I've tried so hard.
You're saying your ex-husband has been protecting your kids?
Correct. He's got videos, he's got all kinds of shit online. CPS took them away from me after I filed the report because my husband told them that I was unstable, and they got sent to live with my mom and him, and that stuff was happening then too. And when you're a mom and you know someone's hurting your kids, you have to stop it. I have full custody of the oldest, and we have joint custody of the youngest, but that's only because that was in a settlement. I asked for full with a protective order.
Yeah.
I spent, I don't know, $26,000 fighting him to not have him have access to her or his mom. Again, this is like a family thing. It doesn't even make sense. It's so crazy. And it's like every day they just present themselves as worse individuals. I've been harassed. Someone's coming in my apartment. I told the detectives that the first time. My husband had my car key originally, which has my garage door clicker. It's like a townhouse apartment. Messing with my stuff. They've logged into my Apple ID and they're messing with it. I mean, it's just harassment all day, every day to keep me quiet. So it got to the point where I basically said, look, this is unfortunate and no one will understand that as a mother, do anything in this world that you can do to keep them safe, and if that means I have to eliminate them and then pay the price for the rest of my life, I will. But they're hurting them. They're hurting them. I can't do it anymore. I've been fighting for so long to get help, and nothing's happening. When I got out, like I said, CPS took the kids, and so ever since then, he basically let me know that my husband and my mom, that if I don't follow along with what they say and what they want about the kids and how much time they give the kids, you know, that they're going to take them away and tell people that I need to go back to a hospital, which I don't need to go to a hospital. Someone needs to get them help.
So what was different about today?
They've both been discussing taking the kids again. I don't know. I knew my time was running out. I knew that they were going to take them.
I'm not gonna lie, it's like it's blacked out. I don't remember specifics of the morning, but I knew that they weren't gonna go to school. I was gonna keep them home and have a day with them.
Okay.
I've done it before when I got scared. And then I thought, okay, well, I have a Xanax prescription, so I'll just put them to sleep.
Okay.
You know, just overdose them, quick and easy. So, I gave them some pills, and Archer went to sleep, and Lillian didn't. She just kept going. And I thought that was odd, because she's a baby, essentially, so it should have, you know, affected her heavier. This is so hard to say, and I'm probably gonna throw up. So she was napping, and napped for a long time. Lily wouldn't go back down, so I gave her some hydroxyzine, which is like Benadryl kind of.
An allergy pill?
Yeah, some more Xanax. I put it in some yogurt, fed it to her. And
You gave her that and more Xanax, or just that next after the Xanax, correct?
Yeah, sorry, just that.
Okay.
And I laid her down, and she didn't want to go to sleep, and going back and forth, and I got paranoid, and I was like, it's not working. This was supposed to be simple. I put her head in my chest and held her while she fell asleep, and put the blanket over her mouth and held it.
This was Lillian?
I laid her in her crib and tucked her. I changed her clothes and put on a dry shirt because she had drooled on it. I changed her diaper. Put her in her crib and tucked her in with her blanket and her lovey. And then Archer, that was at 1:36.
1:36 p.m.? Whenever that happened to Lillian?
And I kept thinking, okay, it's over. And then Archer woke up, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I spent the rest of the day with her, eating, playing games, watching, trying so desperately not to panic. I think I was in shock, so I wasn't crying. I kept checking on Lillian like every 30 minutes. I told Archer she was taking a long nap. And
But you knew she was gone.
correct. But I was still scared about Archer, so I waited until she was ready for bed. And I gave her some more Xanax and hydroxyzine in her Zoloft that she takes.
So whenever you say you smother her, what'd you smother her with?
Well, my hand and a pillow. I stand by the fact that I had enough evidence to show that my kids were in child produced by my family and paid for by my family, and the money was moving through my bank account.
Okay.
And once I found that out, and I was busting my ass to prove it, I just lost it. I completely lost it. My husband had put some stuff on my phone, and he bought these like blockers and stuff where like I can't, so I haven't had like full internet access, and so I've never been able to fully see any of these videos, but I can get to them, and I figured out how to get to them. Some of them, I know some of them are probably on like the dark web. I don't know who my family really is. Okay, well, I'm gonna preface with it. First off, this is now a mental health crisis because I have murdered my children. Okay, I'm a little rattled. And I've been rattled for a while, but that's the way they want me, okay? I do sound crazy. If you thought I was sane right now, you'd probably be crazy. But I'm not. I think that they thought I would just go crazy and they'd get the kids, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Unfortunately, I hurt them instead. It seems like every time that I just struggle with life, you know, we throw it back on mental health. There's nothing wrong with having a mental health problem. I'm currently having one.
A lot of people do.
But, it's a scapegoat for my family to use to keep me quiet.
How did you feel after they were gone?
I just checked on them and told them I loved them and covered them up and situated them how they'd be comfortable. And just stood there for like 15 minutes, just stared at the floor. You don't think after, you're just dead. I felt like I died with them. I have tears because I'm sad for them. I miss them already. But I'm not sad for saving them.
How long have you been planning that?
Well, I've been fighting to protect them and save them for like a year, but the thought of doing it that way has not crossed my mind. I guess it was the day before Easter when they were doing their Easter egg hunt. I think at the end of the day I did what I did, and it's unfortunate, and no one's gonna care about what led me to it. I'm not okay with it. I don't think it's right. I think I do deserve to be arrested and serve time. But I couldn't go another day knowing that they were in harm.
Madison's trying to make it seem like she had no other choice. But when the investigator challenges the general difficulty of understanding such crimes, she counters with chilling clarity.
I don't think marrying someone who's a predator and an abuser and finding out that there's a connection to your family for some reason and then reporting them and then them harassing you until you end up committing capital murder, I don't think that's hard to understand from a psychological point at all. Because medicines fix chemical problems, not situational problems. My problems are situational, not chemical. I fought for safety, but I can't prove it. I'll say that. And I just think now it's time for me to serve my time.
So what were you protecting the girls from then?
I'm done. Sorry.
McDonald's break from reality had started months earlier. In the fall of 2020, though she had a documented history of severe mental illness, including bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, she began rejecting that diagnosis in her final months. Her paranoia completely took over her life. She started accusing the girls' fathers, Christopher McDonald and Tim Hammond, and even her own mother, Julie Kidd, of being part of an elaborate plot against her children. The delusions became more and more specific. She claimed family members were crawling through the ceiling to assault her and her daughters. It got so bad that in November of 2020, she desperately passed a note to a Burger King employee begging them to call the FBI because she thought local police were in on the conspiracy. Around the same time, she was deemed a threat to herself and her kids and was involuntarily hospitalized for several weeks. Her mother would later testify that Madison had struggled with thoughts of taking herself out since she was 13 years old. Still, no one could have imagined just how horrible it would all end. When Madison McDonald's trial for capital murder began on April 12th of 2023, no one disputed what she did. The whole case came down to a single question. Was she legally insane? Her defense attorneys argued she was, pointing to her long and severe history of untreated mental illness. Her mother took the stand and said that the illness, not Madison, was to blame, stating there was no motive. The girls' fathers also testified, describing a mother who was once loving and competent but had become completely lost in her delusions, especially after her divorce was finalized just weeks before the murders. But the prosecution painted a very different picture. They argued that her actions proved that she knew what she was doing was wrong. Why else would she drive to a police station and use a lobby phone to confess? After thinking it over for less than an hour, the jury came back with a verdict. They rejected the insanity in defense and found her guilty of capital murder. As family members in the courtrooms wept, Madison McDonald showed no emotion. She was automatically sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. Her conviction was later upheld on an appeal in November of 2024. The details of this case are incredibly tragic, and they raise tough questions about mental health care and the justice system. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know respectfully in the comments. And if you think these kinds of stories are important, consider subscribing. The case of Madison McDonald was a devastating story of a mother's descent into madness and the absolute betrayal of her children. There were so many red flags, even a psychiatric hospitalization. But the system still couldn't prevent this tragedy. Her fears, born from a severe mental illness she wouldn't accept, create a twisted reality where she believed killing her daughters was an act of love. In the end, 2 innocent lives were lost, and a family was destroyed, leaving everyone to wonder what could have been done to save Archer and Lillian from the one person who should have been their greatest protector.